Yo, what's up, YouTube? Firefist Chris here, and I'm coming to you guys with a local results. I went undefeated last night at my locals. It went 6-0. I'm gonna go over some of the matchups I had, as well as the experience I had playing this deck. If you guys want to see an in-depth deck profile, I have that on the channel, as well as a theory craft for this deck. Overall, the deck performed great. I ended up selling my winners pack. And then outside of that, I'm just going to go ahead and go through each round. So for the Law deck in general, it's definitely a great deck. It's really consistent, which is one of the main things I love about the deck. Some of the matchups do become a lot more difficult on how you have to play it. So starting with round one I won against Blue Doflamingo, and I won that round 2-0. It was a fairly new player I was playing against. Just because I usually have a trouble playing against the blue deck, just because they can keep a lot of constant pressure with those big 4-drop cost monsters as well. But outside of that round, everything else was fairly competitive. The next round, I went against Rush Zoro, and I won that one. That was 2-1. The next round after that was also Rush Zoro again, and that was also 2-1. With those, they kind of go back and forth. So you kind of just want to make sure you reserve all your rush for a turn you're trying to push for a lot of life. And then just save the little blockers, as well as save your 2k counters for when it really matters, when they're trying to go for game with the Rush Luffy as well as Rush Zoro. So for those matchups, that's kind of how you want to play those. Really, the MVPs, I would say, against that deck, realistically, would be obviously you have the blockers, but I think the major one that really did help out was having Nekamushi, which almost made me consider running more than 2, just because every time I had gotten that ability and then being able to get him back with Law and then be able to play him again, it just really helps get over. They really don't run that many blockers. So it kind of just helps get over some of the smaller cost characters, such as like Rush Zoro. And then I also I had the Robin, which did a lot of work as well against those matchups. If you can get a Robin out pretty early in the game, it does help you secure the games, at least for tempos early on. So that was the second and third round. For round 4, I went against Kaido. Kaido, I won against 2-0. That deck, you kind of just want to rush that as soon as possible. Honestly, just don't let them get the abilities off, because eventually they're going to keep ramping up with the Dons. And the deck itself, it's not really a fast-paced deck. So they're going to have their queens and their kings, obviously, to get rid of some of your stuff. But you kind of just want to play really aggro in the beginning with your searches. Using Jewelry Bonner, using Momonosuke as well. But I did win that one. And then round 5 was actually a mirror match against another Law deck. And that one just came down to a resource game, as most mirror matches work. So that round, I won 2-0. And then for the last round, I went against the Crocodile deck, which was the purple and blue deck. Which is a really defensive deck, and against that deck, they're really not attacking at your life really often. They're kind of just preventing your attacks from going through from your characters. But overall, it was a great tournament. I did sell my winners pack, since those are selling for a lot online, as well as a lot of the singles just in general for the card game, until we get another restock from Bandai. But just going through the deck, I'm just going to skim through, just go through, see what, obviously, the best cards would be. You have the Searchers, you have the Jewelries. If you look at the deck profile, I do show why I run Momonosuke. I do feel that Law decks do have to play him as a 1-cost Searcher, which is really important. Just having another way to be able to search Otama. You can search the Nakamushi, Izos, Okiku, and those characters. Obviously, you have your blockers. Everything's fairly standard. You have the Otamas, which is also standard. I probably am going to bump up one more Brook, just because anytime you can resolve this ability, I do feel like you kind of, more than often, it puts a lot of pressure just giving 2 Don to something. These ratios I'm going to have to work around with. I don't know how I feel about having one of each. They're both great cards, just kind of hard on the deck space. Another MVP would be the Kid, the 8-drop Kid. It's kind of hard to get over him, as well as for a lot of matchups, it's really hard to try to get over him, and then you have a wall of blockers as well, and then you could push for game the next turn. Obviously the Nekamushis, and then the targets for the Momonosuke, Robins. I feel like in general the rush cards, obviously Zoro, Luffy, and then Laws, which you have to run it as a 4 of. It's honestly one of the better cards in the deck. Just being able to have, the ability to bounce something back, play the same thing, search again. And then Shanks was relevant in 2 of the matchups. Besides that, I didn't really get to see it that often. And then the last thing I probably would change is just changing out this Radical Beam for another Jet Pistol, because this deck does have issues getting over a lot of bigger characters. So using Otama to lower something and then Jet Pistoling it is usually the best course of action. But overall, that was my Undefeated Law deck. I'm really enjoying this deck for this format, and I really hope you guys enjoy the content I'm releasing, and you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be posting more content to come, as well as hopefully we can get some packs in to do some pack openings and reviews. So I want to thank you guys so much. Have a great day.